Welcome to Cat and Jess Talk the Best, where we're going to be talking about IMDb's top 250 movies from April 12th, 2018. My name is Kat.
And I'm Jess.
And today we are talking about number 190, Network, which is a drama from 1976. This has an 8.1 on 134,119 votes. And before we get started on anything, the Amend the End guy who had talked last week, who we talked about, he commented back letting us know a little bit about what he thought. And he goes, "Okay, I'm writing Kat a cinema ticket for not knowing who Bill Paxton was during your Terminator review. Other than that, I had fun listening. The top 250 is a great concept." And I responded back that I'm terrible with names and much better with faces, so there's tons of names that I won't know, but if I see their face, I know exactly who they are. But I said the cinnamon ticket is funny. I was like, I thought that was pretty hilarious when I saw that, so.
That is. I'm like, yeah, I know you're not great with names, so.
I'm terrible with names. I know like 6 people's names. But the thing is, like, I recognize them so easily.
You're like, oh, I know that person. I just don't know their name. I forgot.
Like even in this one, I recognized, I wrote her name down. I recognized Beatrice Straight from Poltergeist. I was like, why do I know this woman? Why do I recognize her face? And then I went and found her, and I figured out she's from Poltergeist.
Oh,
that's
well, there you go.
Her. I had no idea what her name was, and if you told me your name other than right now, I probably still wouldn't have no clue who you're talking about. But show me your picture, and I'm like, hey, I know her. I've seen her before. But yeah, so our mystery line, we are doing the revealing the one from the Grand Budapest Hotel. It was greed, for lack of a better word, is good. And we had no correct guesses on that. The movie that is from is Wall Street.
Yep. I was like, I knew that one. I did.
So our mystery line for this one, we're on to the light blue. And I picked 3 different options. So you're going to pick left, middle, or right.
Middle.
Oh, thank God. I love this movie, so.
Okay.
It's going to be really easy, and if people don't get this one correct, I'm going to be sad. But this one is, like, super easy for me. So, the line is, "What an excellent day for an exorcism." So, you have 2 weeks to guess that one. We will reveal it in the Name of the Father episode. So, 2 weeks for that, guys. So, the spoiler-free synopsis for this one. In this lauded satire, veteran news anchorman Howard Beale discovers that he's being put out to pasture. And he's none too happy about it. After threatening to shoot himself on live television, instead he launches into an angry televised rant, which turns out to be a huge ratings boost for UBS network. This stunt allows ambitious producer Diana Christensen to develop even more outrageous programming, a concept that she takes to unsettling extremes.
Yeah, that last one's an understatement there.
Yeah.
But we can't talk about it now. We cannot. Not yet. Alright, so this is directed, we've seen this director before.
Yes.
This is Sidney Lumet. We saw him with Dog Day Afternoon, which is number 247. We will see him much later on, actually, at number 5, 12 Angry Men. And I had to put this one in, of course, because of my musical love. He also directed The Wiz.
Isn't that the Wizard of Oz one?
Yeah, but, like, a modernized, funky version of it, I guess? It's got, like, Michael Jackson in it, Diana Ross, some other people.
Interesting.
Yeah, It's actually a pretty good movie. I like it. Then this stars Faye Dunaway, William Holden, and Peter Finch.
Yes. And just because we are going to have him again later, Robert Duvall.
Oh, we're going to have Robert Duvall with, like, our top 2 movies.
We're going to have Robert Duvall, like, 7 more times, I think. So yeah. I just wanted to include him.
I know he's in The Godfather.
Yeah.
That's, like, one of our top movies. So.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait a minute, I know that guy.
And then there was another woman, since I'm talking about actors and actresses, since I'm terrible with names, that I recognized. She played Barbara Schelsinger, whatever. The assistant type person, I guess, to Diana. Conchata Ferrell. I recognized her from multiple things, so I just wanted to point that out. I did recognize 3 people in this movie.
Yay, Cat.
That's a good job for me.
It is. Good job.
I'm gonna pat myself on the back for that. Alright, so the ratings. IMDb, 29.2% of users rated this at an 8. On Metacritic, it has an 83. Rotten Tomatoes, 92% on 63 critical reviews. 2 of the fresh. Arthur Knight, no performance is less than brilliant, with Dunaway particularly effective in the film's showiest role. Holden, Finch, and Duvall, as always, contribute bedrock solid performances. That's an interesting way to phrase that. Bedrock solid.
Bedrock, is it because they're old? I don't know.
I thought it was like just, bedrock is like real solid. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Holden and Finch are pretty old in this movie.
Yeah.
They are. Let's not deny it there.
That is true. Windy-eyed, this tale of a failing network that feeds on the mental breakdown of one of its anchors, cannibalizing itself for ratings, feels as savagely relevant now as it did when it was released nearly 40 years ago. At this point, over 40 years ago now. 43 years ago.
Yeah, it's 43 now.
And it's still just as relevant, which is crazy.
Yeah, actually, I would agree with that statement. I would.
Actually, I would think it's more relevant now than it was then.
Yes.
Honestly.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do.
So the 2 rotten, Richard Schickel, the plot that Patty Chayefsky, I don't know, has concocted to prove this point is so crazily preposterous that even in post-Watergate America, where we know that bats can get loose in the corridors of power, is just impossible to accept. I don't agree.
I don't know about that. I don't.
I think it was maybe crazy at the time, just kind of like not as relevant as it is now, but now this whole entire plot is just like the news today.
Yeah.
Chris Pettit. Slick, adult, self-congratulatory, and almost entirely hollow. Mostly.
Yeah, I can see that. I can.
So the consensus. Driven by populist fury and elevated by strong direction, powerful acting, and an intelligent script, Network's searing satire of ratings-driven news remains sadly relevant more than 4 decades later. That's what we just said, but thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I already said that. Thank you. So, the money. The budget for this was $3.8 million. Domestically, it made $23,689,877. Its all-time domestic rank is 3,156. For the awards, this did win 4 Oscars, had 16 other wins, and 26 total nominations. So, the Oscars that it won: Best Actor in a Leading Role, Peter Finch. Best Actress in a Leading Role, Faye Dunaway. Best Actress in a Supporting Role, Beatrice Straight, Poltergeist lady, just so you guys know. Boom. I'm gonna point that out. Best Writing Screenplay written directly for the screen, Patty Chayefsky. The Golden Globes won Best Director, Best Actor Peter Finch, Best Actress in a Motion Picture Faye Dunaway, and Best Screenplay. The BAFTA Awards, Best Actor Peter Finch as well. And all of these Best Actor ones for Peter Finch were posthumously.
Yeah, after he died.
Yeah.
Because he died in 1977, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And this was at the awards, like, for all of those, for 1977 for some of them, and then 1978 BAFTAs. Because he died, I think, like, really early, like January or something. Yeah, January 14th he died. So before any of these awards ceremonies happened.
It's like, yeah, it was his last film. Let's say that.
Yeah. So the David D. Donatello Awards, Best Foreign Actress, Faye Dunaway. She tied with Annie Girardot for Run After Me Until I Catch You from 1976. The Kansas City Film Critics Circle Awards, Best Actress, Faye Dunaway. Los Angeles Film Critics Association Awards. It tied for Best Picture with Rocky. Best Director and Best Screenplay. National Board of Review Top 10 Films for 1976. National Film Preservation Board. It is in the registry. New York Film Critics Circle Awards, Best Screenplay, Online Film and Television Awards, Motion Picture of the, it's in the Hall of Fame, so, and it was just inducted into the Hall of Fame last year.
Cool.
The PGA Awards, it is in that Hall of Fame as well, which it was inducted in there in 2002. And then Writers Guild of America, Best Drama Written Directly for the Screen. So, initial thoughts.
Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay, so I watched this, and I didn't really know much about it, so I kind of went in blind. And I'm okay with that sometimes. I watched it, and I'm like, this is okay. Entertainment value, I'm like, because it's like a drama, so, I mean, dramas aren't like my thing, so that was already like a no for me. There's some really good lines in there, this film. There's like, I knew some of the lines. I'm like, oh, so that's where this is from.
Yeah, it's actually funny. I was looking through the blue ones for our mystery line today, and one of the blue ones is from this movie. I almost picked it just to be a butthead. But I didn't.
Okay. But I will admit, I kept checking the time to see how long I had left. So, but there's some good acting in there. I gotta say, Peter Finch did a great job with this.
Yeah,
I really liked him in this, and I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just not a big fan of Faye Dunaway. I don't know. I just didn't really like her.
Okay.
And I've seen William Holden. I actually saw him like in his older films as like a young, like a younger guy. So it was kind of a throw off to me to see him older. I will admit that. I was like, oh, he's old now. Okay.
He's like, oh, he aged really, really fast.
Yeah, because what did I know him from? What did I know him from? Hold up. I gotta figure this out. I know him from one of these movies I really like. Sabrina. That's what I know him from. The original Sabrina with Audrey Hepburn.
Oh, okay.
That's what I remembered him from. And that came out in 1954, so...
So yeah, he's like 20 years younger.
It threw me off, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, is that really William Holden? Really? Yeah, but overall, I thought it was an okay movie. Yeah.
Alright, so I first watched this yesterday, and I got about 15 minutes in and started playing on my phone. Because I was bored. And then I got about 45 minutes in, and I turned it off on my TV, and I went to my computer, and I turned it on the computer, and I started playing Roller Coaster Tycoon while listening to it. Meaning I was paying no attention at all to the movie. So that's how my first viewing went. I was bored and done with it by the time he starts going on his rant. His bullshit speech. And so then I was like, you know what? I really need to watch this movie. And so I sat down again today to watch it. And I sat at my desk in my chair so that way I wouldn't fall asleep, so I would be uncomfortable. And I watched it. And it wasn't as bad as I originally thought, but it still is not the best movie I've ever seen. But the acting in it is really great, and then there's some good scenes. There's a pretty good script, and there's some really good cinematography in this. But other than that, I was not very thrilled with this movie. Even though it is a drama, I'm more inclined to like those, but this is not one I enjoyed too much. So yeah, that's what I did.
That honestly does not surprise me at all.
Yep.
I will say this did remind me of Dog Day Afternoon a little bit.
Yeah, there was one scene specifically that reminded me of Dog Day Afternoon.
Okay, well, you have to say it when we get to it.
Yeah.
Boiler alert! Boiler alert! Boiler alert! Boiler alert! Boiler alert! Boiler alert!
That was your warning. If you haven't watched the film yet, then stop listening and come back after you've watched it. So, this movie starts off, it's got like the 4 different TV stations, and they're going on about news, I guess. I wasn't really listening to them.
It was like jumbledness.
Yeah, they were all talking at the same time, so. And then the narrator starts talking, and he's telling about how Howard Beale, for a while I thought his name was Howard Beale, and I was like, wow, that's a terrible name. But then I figured out what his name really was.
You're like, Veal?
Yeah,
really?
Like, why is your last name Veal? Did you just like deer a lot? Like to eat them? Yeah. I heard veal.
Okay. That's not a good sign.
I told you I was very disinterested in this movie the first time I watched it.
So it says that in 1969, so he starts like, he's like a news anchor and everything. But then his ratings start drop down more and more. And it goes to 1975.
Something like that. I don't know. I didn't write the dates down.
And it says that he's fired and he only has 2 weeks left on air. And his friend Max, who is played by William Holden, has to tell him that he's, he only has 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they go drinking. They're literally drunk on the sidewalk talking to each other.
I do want to say that this acting, like, them acting drunk, I did not like. I didn't buy it. So I have been drunk plenty of times. And I've seen a lot of drunk people. And I just don't know. That just didn't really scream drunk to me. That screamed, I'm going to pretend I'm drunk. Because I've seen people pretend they're drunk, too. And that's what it looks like.
I was like, well, I mean, it just depends on how you are when you drink.
I guess so, but I just didn't buy it. That's literally the only acting that I was like, I don't know.
Oh, gosh. So,
they're kind of like joking around and stuff, and then it's like the next day, I guess, and, or actually they're at a bar, and Howard's like, I'm gonna kill myself on live TV. And Max just kind of looks over at him and is like, no.
He's like, I know. You're not doing that.
And so then it's the next day, and then we get to see like the newsroom and stuff, like where it was kind of like, it reminded me this scene of Spotlight.
That's what I was gonna say too.
So
there you go. See, it reminded me of Spotlight too, there. The newsroom thing. And they're just trying to figure out what to report on and everything. And
yeah, like the timing and all that.
Yeah, and so of course Howard goes on air and everything, and you hear, like, before he does this little thing, you hear about President Ford's he was attempted assassinations on him. I'm like,
yeah,
which actually happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, those are actually true things. And then it goes to Howard, and he says, you know, that, was it saying that he's leaving in 2 weeks, and so he's gonna blow his brains out next Tuesday on air.
Yep.
Just like calm and like nonchalant about it. I'm like, oh my god.
And it's crazy because there's only like 2 people that actually hear what he said.
Yeah. I'm like, good job for noticing.
And I'm not talking about like viewers. I'm talking about like the people running all the programs behind the scenes and stuff.
Yeah,
like
that's
nobody cares. They're just not listening, which is freaking stupid.
Like one person's like, "Did he really just say that?"
Yeah,
because they're paying attention.
Yeah,
and they're
so,
like,
"Go ahead."
They're like, they're like, tell the others, the one that's her. They're like, he said he was just gonna kill himself on TV next Tuesday. And so there's this big old scuffle, like trying to get Howard off the set, and it goes back live and everything. There's the fights projected on the TV and everything.
Yeah. So they cut the feed out.
Yeah.
So then they're having like this big meeting about what to do about Howard, and Howard's just kind of sitting there like, hey, why y'all talking mean about me? Like, I just wanted to see if anybody was listening. And then, so they're going on talking about how they're going to take him off the air. He's never going to be on again. Like, that was his last broadcast, blah, 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 blah. And then Max says that he's going to take Howard home with him because the press is going to be all around Howard's place, so they don't want him going home. Then it's probably like the next day or something. Max is back at work, and he's got this like screening he's supposed to go see from somebody, and it's got this woman, what's her name? Something Hobbs.
Oh crap. I can't think of her name, but yeah,
I know,
last name's Hobbs.
Yeah, and she's talking, and then it goes to this other scene about like a bank robbery. But right before that, Max gets a bad phone call about Howard. Like something went wrong with Howard or something like that.
How Howard just left his house.
Yeah.
He just left without telling anybody.
And so then we see the bank robbery in the little footage that this guy put together. And this is the part that reminded me of Dog Day Afternoon.
Oh, this part, okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Because there was, it's got some of the same, like, camera angles that we saw during the robbery portion of Dog Day Afternoon. But that's literally, that was like the first part. And that made me realize, oh yeah, this is by the same director, because I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, yeah, same director.
That's what made me realize that. I'm like, that looks really familiar. But Diana is in the screening as well, and she's like super excited about this whole footage thing.
Yeah, this is Faye Dunaway's character, and she's a heartless bitch in this movie, but that's not anything like, I won't stop. I'll stop. I'll stop there.
But so, Max gets another phone call, and Howard is asking for one more shot to, like, retire properly, I guess, is the way to put it.
Instead of saying you're going to kill yourself on TV.
Yeah, so Max is like, okay, sure. So Diana calls, like, this meeting in her office, and it tells everybody about the footage that she just saw, and she's like, I need you guys to come up with ideas because we don't have any number one TV shows. We need better TV shows.
She's like, these TV shows suck.
Yeah. And the woman that's in there, not the one having her sign papers, but the other woman that's in there, that's the other lady that I recognize from quite a bit of things, like quite a few things. She's, the one major one I recognized her from was Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, she's in that.
Yeah, she's in a lot.
Oh, she's in so many things. I know she did a lot of things with Adam Sandler, for sure.
Yeah. But they're like, it's their job to now come up with some ideas for hit TV shows that they can pitch to people in the network. So then we've got like this big company meeting.
Stockholders meeting.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
Because this is part of where you're seeing Robert Duvall's character.
Yeah. And they're talking about like the different divisions within the network and stuff, and they're talking about news, and this is the first time that Max has heard like what they're saying about the news network, and like he gets kind of thrown under the bus in this meeting, so he's like super mad about it.
Yeah, he's like, what the hell?
Yeah. So then we get to see Howard's latest retirement, his newest retirement speech. And the title of this one is Bullshit Speech.
It is.
He literally says it like 17 times. I
Like,
didn't count, but
it was a lot.
It was a lot. So 17 seemed like a good number. But everyone's like freaking out during it, and Max is just like, let him finish, whatever. If this is what he wants to do, let him do it. And then I don't know, I think it's the same night after the broadcast, the big boss dude comes in. I don't remember the name of him, but I didn't write it down. But he comes in, and Max is in trouble because he let Howard just go on this rant.
Yeah.
On live TV. And then Max goes off about how he was thrown under the bus at the meeting, and they just kind of argue with each other for a little bit. And the big boss guy has said that he wants Max to hand in his resignation tomorrow. And then we see Howard talking to the press about his speech. And Diana is watching from home. And she's really weird. I guess she gets off on the news. It's weird.
She's a heartless humanoid. That's what I call her in my head.
But so, the next day in her office, Diana is hearing the different pitches that the people had thought up of like the different ideas they had for TV shows and stuff. And then she goes and runs to talk to Hackett, which is like her boss, I guess.
That's Robert Duvall's character.
Yeah. And, she's talking to him about keeping Howard, because she's like, look at this newspaper, look at all these reports about him from his press conference last night. And Hackett's like, I don't know.
And she's like, sorry.
Go ahead.
She's like, he gets views. Our points went up.
Yeah. And so Hackett's like, okay, well, I'll get back to you. And then he goes and pitches the idea to his boss. Well, his boss is like a bunch of different network people that are guests or above him. And then we see Max is packing up his office, and he's talking to Howard, and then a whole bunch of people are in there. And he's like telling that same joke from the beginning. Which I was like, why are we repeating jokes again? But then I'm like, people do that for real, so it's actually not that big of a thing.
You're just nitpicking at that point.
Yeah, I was like, because I think that part is kind of where I stopped listening. Well, no. Yeah, that part is where I, like, completely turned it off. Like, tuned it out the first time I watched it. I was like, okay, I'm done with this. And then when I watched it the second time, I'm like, oh, okay, that's, like, a really good decision by the director and writer to have him repeat that, because people repeat jokes to different groups of people all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they tell the same joke over and over. So I was like, that's actually a good idea. But so there's a bunch of people in his office and stuff, and then this one guy he's like, well, I have a joke for you. And he tells about how Howard's gonna have his own show on the network. And Howard's like, yeah, I want to do it. And they kind of have like a little discussion. It's not even little, like the whole room is just kind of sitting there listening to Howard and Max talk about it. And then we see Ruddy. His last name is Ruddy. He's like the big boss. One of the big bosses. And he's talking to Max and telling Max that he needs to reconsider his resignation.
Just to keep Howard in line.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he needs to do.
So then Howard has his first show, and the ratings aren't great. So they're like trying to think of how they can improve it. And then Diana's talking about like mediums and psychics and stuff, and I'm like, what? She's like, you need to have this psychic on your news channel to predict stuff. And I'm like, nobody would take that seriously. Like, at all.
No.
But she keeps, like, pitching new shows and stuff. Like, that's all she's doing this whole entire movie is pitching new shows. And obviously she's not very good at it because she pitches, like, maybe 20-something ideas over this entire movie. And only the Howard one, well, actually 2 of them get accepted.
Yeah.
So, it's just not good.
No, and she's like, her and Max are like, just like talking about this, and then it gets all awkward.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know why, like, I don't think that this should have been included.
I didn't like it at all.
The whole romance between the 2 of them should not have been included. I didn't think it was pertinent to the movie. I kind of actually felt like it took away from it a little bit.
Oh, completely. That was the most awkward thing I saw, like, ever.
And it's not like they use it to feed into it. They just kind of use it as a ploy to get away from the main...
It's a side plot.
Point. Yeah.
I didn't like it, like, at all. I mean, there's people that have that big age difference, but... And that's great for them. That works for them. But for this movie, no.
Yeah, some subplots are cool and they're fine. Like, the other one was decent. The other subplot that they had with Hobbs. That one was fine. Like, the other TV show that she had pitched. That was a decent subplot. But this one, this whole entire one with her and Max, I didn't really like it too much. It was weird.
Yeah, like, so, like, he asked her on a date. I'm like, are you kidding me? And she's like, aren't you, like, married and shit? He's like, yeah. Like, on their date, she asked him, are you married? He's like, yeah, like 25 years. He's got a daughter who's gonna have a kid. She's gonna be a grandfather. And I'm like, What are you doing? It just felt just so wrong to me.
But so, we see their date, and then we see Howard is like, at first I thought he was asleep and just like talking in his sleep, but then like right after this scene we find out he was actually awake and he thought he was talking to someone. I think he's just insane.
Oh, he just freaking lost it.
So then the next night, he's like, he's doing his show and he's talking about the voice that he was talking to and how the voice told him he needs to tell the truth. And I'm just like, okay, you crazy person.
Yeah, he just snapped.
You need to be institutionalized and helped.
And that's what Max thinks.
Yeah, you're talking to people that aren't there. That's not a good thing.
It's like, he needs help.
Yeah, so he's like, Max is like trying to take him off the air and Howard's trying to explain himself. But he just kind of passes out. Because he got so worked up.
Ugh.
So, he gets taken back to Max's place, and then he gets up in the middle of the night, and he's walking around the house rambling, and then he just, like, walks out of the house. And then Max's wife, which is Beatrice Straight, she gets up in the morning, and she goes down in the living room and finds that Howard's not there. And so she goes and, like, very quietly wakes up Max, and is like, hey, just so you know, Howard is gone. Like, if I had a crazy person, like one of my friends, done gone crazy in my house, and I'm supposed to be watching them, you best believe I'm putting their butt in a locked room so they can't get out. And then if they do get out, I'm not going to go very quietly and politely wake up Sean and be like, hey, he's gone.
Whoopsie-daisy.
Sorry I lost your friend who went crazy, but we might want to go find him.
She's like, no, I'm going to make some coffee. It's like,
yeah, she doesn't even care.
It's like this thing happens a lot, I guess.
I don't know.
That's what I'm guessing.
That just kind of like threw me through a loop. I was like, wait a second. But so, Hackett's freaking out that day because Max is telling him that Howard's gone. And then he's also trying to tell him that Howard's insane. And Hackett's just like, you need to get him back here now. Blah, 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 blah. Like all kinds of crazy and mad and stuff. So Max gets fired. And it's Diana's show now.
Yeah, she takes everything over.
Yep. And then Hackett, Max freaks out and stuff and says he's gonna, basically he's going to keep Howard from them as best he can by getting them, institutionalized, pretty much, is what he says he's gonna do.
Yeah.
In way more words than that, but...
In that sense, yes.
It's like this one thing that this movie does is speeches.
There's speeches.
So many. So many speeches. But that's one of Max's speeches. And then Hackett's like, oh, is there something going on between the two of you? And Diana's like, not anymore.
Gross.
Like, okay, what? So then Howard shows up to the building. He goes up and does his show. Like, nothing happened. Just goes in there. He's, drenched because it was raining. And he's going on about bad things and asking people to get mad about the bad things and, saying, I'm not going to take it anymore and all that.
He certainly tells people to stick their heads outside their windows and yell that famous line, of course.
Yeah. And that's the line that was, that could have been our mystery quote.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. That's funny.
I was like, that's really funny that's one of the options that we could have had today. So, yeah, and then Diana's checking, calling all over the country, checking to see who's yelling and stuff. And we get the whole scene of everybody sticking their heads out their windows and yelling. And this reminded me of that J.G. Wentworth commercial.
Yeah.
Like, it's my money and I need it now.
I think that's where they got her from. Is from this movie.
Yeah. It has to be, because it's almost exactly the same. They just changed the words.
That's it.
But I saw that scene and I was like, oh, hey, they need their money. That's all I could think that entire time when you see the people sticking their heads out the windows and yelling. I'm like, oh, they need their money, guys. They need it now.
And me, I'm just like, you people are a bunch of sheep.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
That's true.
Like, a bunch of sheep. You listen to what someone on the TV tells you to do.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, but...
Well, and they do, like, the whole entire movie. They're just, like, listening to whatever he says.
And he's freaking crazy.
Well, they don't care about that.
He does a big, loud voice on the TV, and they listen to him. Oh, I'm just gonna stop there.
That happens.
That happens quite a bit, actually. That's why it's so relevant still.
Yeah. But so, Diana, so the show's, like, Howard's show is, like, doing real good. Really well. And, so Diana's, like, traveling over to LA, I guess, to promote the show and pitch new ideas and stuff. And, this is where we get introduced to Laureen Hobbs. See, I knew I wrote it down somewhere. I found it. Laureen Hobbs. And she's like this. I'm not going to say the way she introduces herself because...
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
No. But she's an activist, pretty much. Let's just go with that.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
And so she's talking to Diana about having her own show, but what Diana or like, I guess, contributing to Howard's show or something like that. One of the two. I think it's her own show, though.
Yeah.
But so Diana's like, we need you to go talk to the terrorists because we can't do it. I'm like, are you kidding me? But then I'm thinking also, like, there's got to be reporters all over the world, like even American reporters that have connections to terrorists. Because how else do they get information sometimes?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm like, they're just, like, shedding light on stuff that people don't really think about in this movie. They're kind of just showing you, hey, this is a real thing. You just don't really think about it. You just kind of tune it out. I was like, that's kind of crazy, but okay. So, Hobbs agrees, and then she says, she has to go talk to Ahmed, which is like the head of this terrorist group that did the robbery earlier in the movie. And she goes and talks to him, and he's like real grumpy with her. But I guess he agrees.
Yeah.
Then Howard's show is like getting super big. This time he's talking about how the TV runs everyone. And I'm just like, you're not wrong.
No.
TV and internet and social media run everybody now. It's crazy.
Yeah. I was like, okay, this is a good speech right here. This makes sense. This is relevant now.
Yeah. And he's like begging people. Oh, he's talking about how Ruddy died and how Hackett is like gonna take over his position. And I'm like, I don't think you know what you're talking about, Howard. Like, I know that because that Ruddy did have like a heart attack, and then I guess he died in the hospital or something.
Yeah.
But I don't think Hackett becomes the CEO because he's like talking about how he's gonna become the CEO, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't think you know what you're talking about, dude, because he's still got people above him later on in the movie, and CEOs don't really have people above them that I know of, but I don't really know anything about all that, so. So yeah, He's, like, begging people to turn their TVs off and stuff.
And he faints.
Yeah.
It's like he just gets so worked up doing all this, he just passes out.
Yeah.
He does this quite a bit, actually. Like, every time he does a show.
Mm-hmm. And, so... then there's, like, this big, huge meeting about the network and, like, the numbers and stuff. These meetings are just, like, a bunch of numbers that I thought it was cool that they included it just because they, it gives more of, like, a reality to the movie. But then I was also like, this part's really boring. I don't care about your numbers. But that was just me. Max and Diana run into each other and we get their whole romance again. And this is the part that I thought was, like, super, super weird. So, like, they're getting ready, like, they're foreplaying it up. And she's sitting there talking about the news the entire time and, like, talking about work and the FBI and stuff. Like, the FBI coming to investigate them because of their show that they are running with Hobbs. And then she's, like, continually talking about this as they have their brief sex scene.
That was the quickest thing I've ever seen. I'm like,
Yeah.
Really? Was that it?
That
was like, that was like 5 seconds.
Yeah, like, you just kind of climb on and you're done.
He's an old man. This is all because he can last.
I'm talking about her. Because, like, she just climbs on and then all of a sudden she just, like, screams and then she's quiet for, like, 10 seconds. And then she goes on about the news again.
That was the quickest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
I'm just like, why? Why is this needed?
Did anything happen, really? It was just it was just so quick.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was like, we can dive really into that if we need to.
I don't want to dive into that.
Ugh.
There's some real weird psychological stuff going on with that character that I don't need to know about.
Yeah. Yeah. She's weird. I'm gonna say that.
But so Max, I guess his wife gets back from her trip because she was out of town visiting their daughter, who was about to have their grandkid, and he tells her that he's been having an affair, and that he's in love with her, and she, like, freaks out on him, understandably. And I'm like, I really don't like it when they do this in movies. Like, can we just get to the point where you're not married anymore? Because we already know what's going to happen. You, like, built it up so much. So.
It's like, just cut it.
Yeah, like, there's no need to do this. You already built it up. We already know what the reaction's going to be. Just cut it and get to the part where they're divorced.
No, we have to have the scene that helps her win the Oscar.
Yeah, she does a great job with this scene, I will admit.
It's like, this is like her big screen time, and she wins an Oscar for it, so.
Yeah. That's literally, like, the only reason I don't want it cut out is because she does such a great job with it. But then other than that, I'm just like, the entire context of this scene, I'm just like, it's unnecessary.
Yeah, it is.
But so she has him move out. And then we go to another one of Howard's... Oh, wait, no. We see Hobbs freaking out on her terrorist friends.
Yeah, they're talking about, like, distribution rights and, like, money and stuff. And it's just, like, this big old discussion. And he's like, you know what, just give her the damn things.
Yeah.
And then he has glasses on and everything. He's just, like, saying, like, all this logical stuff. Like, really intelligent. I'm like, what? I'm like,
Yeah.
And this scene has actually been used in, like, so many other things, too.
Yeah. And then we see Howard's show, and he's freaking out about the CCA deal.
How the Arabs are buying everything.
Yeah. And Hackett is freaking out about the context of this show because he is involved with the CCA deal, I guess.
Yeah.
So he's like freaking out because he's going to lose his involvement because all these people are going to vote that down because Howard's sitting there telling everybody to vote it down. So of course they're going to listen to him. If they're going to pull their J.G. Wentworth moment, they're going to listen to him about, that's what I'm going to call it. They're going to listen to him about the CCA deal. But he's like, he continues his show and stuff, goes on and does it. And then we get, I guess it's like the next day or sometime later that week, something like that. But this man like pulls Howard into a meeting. And I loved the way that this entire scene was shot with Howard and I don't remember the dude's name, but he was like part of the CCA deal, I guess.
Jensen.
And he's like telling him about like why he was wrong to have everybody vote this down. But the way this was shot, like that is from the point of view of Howard, like staring at this dude yelling at him. And you just kind of get like, because Howard's sitting down and Jensen's standing up at the other end of the table. So you get this like upward long shot view of him. And I really liked the way that scene was shot. But Howard's continuing his show and the ratings are dropping. Diana's yelling on the phone. Max comes in and they have their whole breakup fight pretty much. It's what leads to their breakup.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And they're just like fighting about, like Max is mad because she's always on the phone and like just uses him. Like he calls it, I don't want to be an accessory or something like that. And she's griping at him because stupid stuff. Like I kind of tuned this part out. I just wrote fighting and then started doing something else. Like even the second time I watched it because I was just like, I don't care about this part of the story.
Yeah, so. It's just a no. Like he calls her, what was it, a humanoid or something?
Yeah.
I'm like,
something like that.
Okay. Because of one of Howard's shows, how he talks about people are just humanoids now, and they're easily replaced.
Yeah. But so then we go on later, and the ratings are still dropping. Everybody's freaking out. Then we see Diana and Max actually break up, and then they kind of discuss it a little bit. But then they're like, yep, sure, we're going to do it. And Max leaves, lets Diana pack her stuff. Then we get the whole big meeting about Howard. And so the first time I watched it, I had completely tuned all of this out. Like I just looked over because I noticed, like, because I had it on, like I was listening, but I had completely tuned it out. But then I hear, oh, the end, and I was like, wait, what? Like, all of a sudden this dude's dead? Like, what just happened? And then I watched it again today, and I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, so they're having this discussion because Jensen wants to keep Howard on the air, and he's like not gonna flex. He's not flexible about it all. And so, was it Hackett, right? I just call him Frank in my notes.
Yeah, I just call him Hackett.
And so they're talking. They're like, well, then how are we going to get him off the air? And they're like, well, why don't we just kill him? Like,
yeah.
How nonchalant is that? I'm just going to kill a guy.
The first time that they, like, when they first said it, before they started discussing it, I thought it was a joke. So I was like, that's kind of funny. And then I was like, oh, wait, I remembered. They actually do kill him.
They're like, they're serious.
And then they fully discuss it. And Diana's like, oh, yeah, I know some assassins. Let's just get this going.
Yeah, it's those people from the group that she knows.
Yeah. I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me.
She's like, oh, yeah, we could kill him on air. That'd be some great ratings.
And so they're like, we continue to hear this discussion, and then we also, they've got like the footage of people going and getting in, like, for the live show.
Yeah, they're all coming in.
And then Like, right when the show's beginning, the guy kills Howard. Like, they just straight up shoot him. It's like 2 or 3 of them stand up and just shoot him.
That's it. And he's like, what was it? The first person killed for bad ratings or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? This is how it ends? It's like, done. I'm like, what?
Once I knew the context, I was like, that's actually kind of funny.
I'm like, that's an awful way to do that.
Yeah. But, like, because the first time I watched it, I just saw the end, and I was like, wait a second. I don't get it. He's just dead. And then second time I watched it, I was like, oh, I get it. And then that's when I thought it was a little bit funny. I was like, that's some satire if I've ever seen it. I just thought it was funny. But that's it. That's the whole thing.
Yeah. That's it.
So the music for this is by Elliot Lawrence. He is known for The Edge of Night, which is a TV show that ran from 1979 to 1984, and After School Specials, which is also a TV show, but he only did a few episodes of that in 1982. First thing he ever did was The Violators in 1957, and he has 4 Primetime Emmys from his TV show days, which is like the biggest awards you can get in TV is Emmys. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool. Music in this was very, very light. I don't even remember it.
Well, a lot of it is from like commercials and like TV stuff.
Yeah, so it's very non-existent.
Yeah, like radio, TV. That's about it.
Yeah, which I think the director did the same thing with Dog Day Afternoon, just made the music very light and just played on like the realness of the story. So I think it's actually a good decision, just kind of letting it play out as is without much music to it. Sometimes it works and then other times it doesn't, but I think for this one it worked because it's not like there was times when I was like, oh, I need music. I never had that feeling. So
yeah, same here.
But then there's some movies you're just like, there's no music, and you're just like, where's the music? This moment really needs some music.
And then you don't get any.
Yeah.
Or you get the wrong type of music.
Yeah. So, comparison. We already kind of compared it to a few things, like Spotlight, Dog Day Afternoon, J.G. Wentworth commercial.
Yeah.
I just think that's hilarious now that I see where they got it from.
You're like, oh, there it is. There it is.
I just think it's so funny. Do you have any trivia?
I do have some trivia. So, this movie was nominated for Best Picture, right?
Yeah.
Guess what movie beat it out?
Wasn't it Rocky?
It is Rocky. And the director he was pissed about it. He's like, how come I lost to a damn boxing movie?
That's funny.
Yeah, he was pissed about it. I'm like, well, Rocky's a good movie. And this was okay. So,
yeah.
at least you beat Rocky. At least you beat, Sylvester Stallone for, like, Best Original Screenplay. So.
Yeah.
You got that one over Rocky. That's about it.
So, here's my opinion on that.
Go.
I think Rocky is a better movie overall, but I think this one had a better story to it. But that's just because I'm not a big boxing fan. So I can see why both of the movies won the awards that they won. You know?
Okay. Yeah, I see what you get at there. I was like, me personally, I like Rocky more than this one, but that's me.
Yeah, like overall wise, I did like Rocky more than this one.
Yeah.
But the content of this one, if the story was a little bit different or like played out a little bit different and they had cut some things out, like the romance between Diana and Max, then I would have liked this one better than Rocky. But I just think all of the elements that they did in Rocky fit together better than this one did.
Yeah. I get you. I do. So You know, I talked about Beatrice Straight and how her her Oscar win for Best Supporting Actress. Her screen time was like 5 minutes, and that's the shortest ever to win.
Yeah.
Shortest ever. I'm like, well, yeah, I can see that for sure. Because I'm like, wow, that is ridiculous. Yeah. And of course, we talked about how Peter Finch died before he can get his awards. And of course, he is the first one to win an Oscar posthumously. And of course, the second one is Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
But Peter's was for Best Actor, and was it Heath Ledger's was Best Supporting Actor?
I don't know.
I think it's Best Supporting Actor. If I remember correctly. I think it is.
I don't remember.
I think it is. Yeah. And, of course, I like this one because it's another award one. This is the last movie that, so far, since, 2018, that has had 5 Academy Award nominations for acting. So there's at least more than 1 in each. Which I think is really cool.
5 actors nominated?
From the same movie, yes. And 3 of them won.
It hasn't happened since then?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That is really cool. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, so our little trivia just for our podcast. As you could already guess, the other movie that came out that we've done so far from 1976 is Rocky. That's the only other one we've done from 1976 besides this one. Then votes-wise, this is the only one between 130,000 and 135,000. So it's actually kind of low on our spectrum there.
Yeah.
Of other movies. There's still quite a bit below it, but it's still lower than way more movies, which is kind of interesting. So, where it has been on the list before, in 2010 it was number 196. In 2012 it was number 171. 2014 it was number 176. 2016 it was number 189. 2018 number 193. And as of today when we were recording, number 201.
So it's slipping.
Yeah. It is. It went up quite a bit, and then now it's going back down.
Oh.
Not very fast, but it's still going back down.
Yeah.
So previously, number 190, the 2010 list, My Neighbor Totoro,
Woo!
1988. 2012 list, Life of Pi from 2012. The 2014 list, $1 Million Baby from 2004. The 2016 list, The Wages of Fear from 1953.
Whoa! Sorry, I had to.
The 2018 list, Platoon from 1986, which is coming up.
Yeah.
And then, as of today when we are recording, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington from 1939 is number 190. Which I believe that one's coming...
That one's on our list.
Somewhere.
That's the original one, right?
Yeah, but it's way higher. It's number 146 on our list.
It's, yeah, with Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah.
I was like, that's Jimmy Stewart. That's his famous one with a long-ass speech in it.
Yeah.
A long-ass speech. Yeah.
But yeah, that is it. So, favorite line. I've got a few. There's lots of good lines in this. Like I said, I did like the script in this. There's just some bits that were unnecessary.
I got 7. And I'm not going to say the famous one either.
Yeah, I didn't write the famous one down.
I did, but I'm not going to say it.
Well, the famous one. There's quite a few that I've heard before.
Yeah.
Or variations of. So, the first one And no booze today, Howard. I thought that was funny. I was like, oh, poor Howard.
Sometimes you have to tell people that.
Sometimes.
Sometimes you do.
I don't have any bullshit left. I just ran out of it, you see? I wrote another one down the first time I watched it, but I erased all those notes, so I don't remember what it was.
Okay.
Obviously, it wasn't that good because I didn't write it down again. Television's a goddamn amusement park. I liked that one. All my friends seem to be dying or having grandchildren.
That one actually made me laugh.
I've seen variations on that. Of everyone I know is getting engaged or having kids, and I'm just like, or getting married or having kids, and I'm just like, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, that one's pretty familiar. It is.
That one goes around a lot, and now I kind of see where the root of it came from. I'm like, ah.
Like, oh, okay, there it is. There it is.
She's the television generation. She learned life from Bugs Bunny.
It's a good one.
That puts us in the shit house. That's what I got for this one.
Alright, so I have like 6 or 7 or something. We'll wipe that Disney right off the fucking air.
Yeah, I remember that one.
That one made me giggle. If you're gonna hustle, you gotta get it right. It's the individual that is finished. The world is a business. Television is not the truth. We'll tell you any shit you want to hear. And this one I think is my favorite. Fully fledged messiahs don't come in bunches. So what do you think, Kat?
My 2 favorite are Television's a goddamn amusement park, and I don't have any bullshit left. I just ran out of it, you see.
Let's go with the television one. That fits better with this film.
Okay. So, Television's a goddamn amusement park. That will be our one for this one. What is your rating?
I was nice. I gave this a 6. Because
Okay.
it has a really good script. It does. It is. There's just some things I didn't like about it. Like the romance between Max and Diana. That could have been completely left out.
Yeah.
Completely. Again, I don't know what it is. Maybe I don't like Faye Dunaway, but I just didn't like her character. That kind of did some things for me. Like, I've seen Faye Dunaway in other movies too, and I just didn't like her acting either. So maybe it's just her acting I don't like. Because I've seen her in Bonnie and Clyde, and I was like, oh, okay, you're interesting. And I think also I have a grudge against her because she screwed over La La Land in the Oscars.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Oh, was she the one that was announcing it?
Yeah, and Warren's like, that's the wrong one. He was trying to show her, and she just thought he was a senile old man and just took it and read the wrong name.
Oh.
But that might be because I have a grudge against her. That's probably why I'm just like, no. Yeah. So, that's why it's a 6 for me.
Okay. I gave this one a 5. Partially because, like, I watched, I had to watch it 2 times to actually even watch it. It was just, I thought it was really boring the first time I watched it. Like, I was so uninterested in it. There was some stuff that was unnecessary. Like, I felt like if you take the romance stuff out, you could make this movie like 30 minutes shorter. Because this movie is kind of long.
Yeah, it's 2 hours.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes movies that are 2 hours move at a really good pace, but this one I just felt like it was kind of slow in spots. It just really didn't grab my attention. I felt like it needed a better hook at the beginning. Like, maybe, you know, sometimes how movies, like, show you the end of the movie and then go back to the beginning. Maybe if it had done that, it would have been a better hook for me, because I've been like, whoa, wait, how did this dude die? And, like, what built up to that? Like, maybe that would have been a better hook for me, at least.
Yeah, I could see that. I can.
But other than that, like, the cinematography was really good. The acting, I liked a lot of the acting. Most of the script I thought was really good. The story was a really good idea, and I think it's kind of funny that it's still really, really relevant right now. So, it's interesting that a movie can still be relevant 40 years after it's made, and actually even more relevant than when it came out. So
yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I gave it a 5. I thought about giving it a 6, but I was looking at my 5s and my 6s, the movies that I had rated at 5s and 6s, and I was like, it just kind of fits in better with my 5s. Like, there's movies that I rated at 5 that I liked a little bit better. So that's where I put it, was with my 5s. So our next film is Hotel Rwanda from 2004. And this is what's the word I'm looking for? A reenactment of real events. So a lot of the events in Hotel Rwanda actually did occur. So it can be hard to watch because there's a lot of stuff in it that's very sensitive. So just beware if you're watching it and you're sensitive.
I have been wanting to watch this movie for Hotel Rwanda for a while, so I'm excited I finally get to watch it. I am. Because I knew about this, like, was it 15 years ago now? Yeah, I knew about it. 15 years and ago. I was like, I was in middle school, so yeah, it wouldn't have been a good movie to watch then, but I'm older now, so I think I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I think it's a bit too much sensitive information for middle schoolers.
Yeah.
I watched it for the first time in high school, so.
Isn't this part of your film class?
No.
No? Just because?
It was a history class.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, that will be out next week, I believe. Yeah. I was trying to think. I was like, wait, what's next week? Yeah. It'll be out next week. I was trying to make sure that next week wasn't our Halloween event, but we still got a couple weeks. I'm just too excited for Halloween, so.
Same.
All right, so our next event is our Halloween event, which will be coming out on Halloween, of course. The 2 movies that I picked are Beetlejuice and Hereditary.
And I picked Young Frankenstein and A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep, so look forward to those. And I will, last few times I've been releasing them all the same time, but I don't want to overwhelm you guys, so I'll release them in order and put an hour between them, so it gives you time to listen to most of the episode before the next one comes out.
That's nice of you.
Yeah. I figured it's really hard for people to just, like, listen to all of them at the same time, so I was like, I'm just gonna kind of sporadically release them.
Yeah.
From
good idea.
6 a.m. to 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. will be the last one coming out. So we are offering premium. If you would like to become a premium member, you just go to our website, catandjesstalkthebest.podbean.com, and it's over on the right side. There's 2 options. The first option is $1 a month, and you will get uncut episodes, early release episodes, and a special monthly episode, all for $1 a month. And then for $5 a month, you will get all of that, plus you will be able to join us for a movie of your choice every 50 movies. So, if you want to be either part of those, like, if you want either of those benefits, just go right on to our website and sign up for that. And then, for that special monthly episode for October, it will be coming out October 30th, since we have our Halloween event. And it's going to be Batman and Robin, which is one of the movies that I really didn't ever want to see again, but I was just like, you know what, I'm going to suck it up and we're going to talk about it. And I actually had a lot to say for a movie I hate.
You did.
Because it was Batman.
It's Batman related, so I mean, you're still going to like part of it because it's Batman.
Yeah. And if you were curious about uncut episodes or anything like that, if you listened to Stand By Me, I got really lazy with that one and just put the music in and called it good. So that's an uncut episode for you guys. So, yep, sorry if you were irritated by Stand By Me. That was an uncut episode. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Classic.
So it was almost 2 hours because I just didn't do anything to it.
Whoops.
Premium. If you would like to become a premium member, please do that. It would help us out a lot. Help us pay for the actual podcast, like the website and stuff like that. If you can't help us out in that way, you can always leave ratings and reviews. Those help us out a lot. Helps us know what we need to do, like what we need to improve, what you guys like. Also, ratings, the higher ratings help us get more listeners, which is awesome. Still find it fascinating that people actually want to listen to us talk about movies. I think that's kind of interesting.
Yay!
That's smile on the head thinking like, no, nobody wants to listen to you, so.
See, that's the anxiety there.
Yeah. You can find us and interact with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That is also where you can, one of the places that you can comment on our mystery quote of the week. We do post them on there, so that way you can comment, let us know what you think the movie's from. Or what movie the quote is from. So yeah, check us out on there. All of our episodes are on our website, which I mentioned before. You could also email us if you have any questions, comments, concerns. I try to get back to people pretty quick, but I am not always on my phone or computer. Sometimes I just sit and read books, so. Our music is by Audio Binger, and you can find him on Facebook, YouTube, and his website, audiobinger.net. So, until next time, thank you all for listening. We appreciate it. It's greatly, greatly appreciated. And we will catch you with Hotel Rwanda. Bye!
Bye!